is mine.
It's 5:01.
It's 5:01. Let's get
Time
this
for a pair of jeans,
let's
right?
Get this Facebook. Facebook's always the last to recognize the stream.
One of the greatest industrial outputs of America as a nation has to be denim. Stop and think about, okay, yeah, the railroads across the country, blah, blah, blah. The Industrial Revolution, blah, blah, blah. No, it had to do something with us providing denim fabric to the world. Was a great American innovation.
Why are you talking about denim?
Because it was 5:01. Somebody said 5:01. I said it's time for a pair of jeans.
Oh, like jeans. Are there?
Jeans.
Is there any denim in Middle Earth?
No, but there's burlap. There's a lot of other thick cotton. Hey,
And
the most
wonderful red jackets and green jackets.
I guarantee you that the elves got their idea for that woven fabric for their elven cloaks in Lothlorien.
Yeah.
I bet you that was inspired by denim. Denim. Blue jeans, Levi Strauss inspired Galadriel, and you guys didn't know that until you just tuned in to our show today.
Which means we're getting the show started. Welcome
We're
to
getting the show started.
Torn Tuesday, the weekly dose of all things Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. We've been doing this show for 6 years, over 300 episodes. You've been here with us over many platforms,
Yes.
many locations, and our latest home is the wonderful Scum and Villainy Cantina.
You guys ready for another heavy dose of Tolkien? Your weekly dose. It sounds like an opioid epidemic. I can't even talk. It sounds like you need an overdose of Tolkien, and you're here at the right spot at the right time. It is 5 o'clock Pacific time here in Hollywood, beautiful Los Angeles, California.
We are literally on Hollywood Boulevard. The stars are right
Literally.
in front of the door, and
The stars are under your feet here in Hollywood.
oh my goodness,
How about that? Guys, welcome to the show. Hey, that's camera one over there, isn't it, Justin?
yes.
Let me introduce myself. By the way, I'm Clifford Broadway. This is Justin Sewell, the other half of this mischief-making production team. We're here at the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
At the corner of Hollywood and Cahuenga. I mean,
Choking and coughing.
down the street right now at Hollywood and Vine, the world famous Hollywood and Vine, where so many the Capitol Records, but
Capitol Records building. We're around the corner from where Judy Garland, the legend, where Frank Sinatra, where Duran Duran recorded some of their most amazing sounds in that studio right up the block.
and
That was a jump,
right
wasn't it?
now, as we speak, Warner Brothers has installed a Ready Player One full life experience with stacked RVs. It is 3 stories high.
It is so cool.
There is like junk. There's a VR experience. You basically go into a VR, an RV to play VR.
Oh, come on. That's too much. Wait,
Yeah.
is this the same location here at the corner where they had the big promotional haunted house for Stephen King's
It?
It?
Yes.
They had the evil Pennywise
Wasn't
house.
that Warner Brothers as well? That was
It
New
was Warner
Line.
Brothers.
Warner Brothers has got a lock on that corner.
They're using that corner like there's no tomorrow.
And I tell you what, our friends here at the Scum and
Famous.
Villainy Cantina were just telling me today that because Warner Brothers and Ready Player One are doing their thing down there, he thought he'd theme a drink or two for Ready Player One based on the book. And boy, oh boy, he got his first Warner Brothers legal notice. And
Did not.
And I said,
Did that really happen?
We've gotten so many over the years. And Cliff,
Yes.
you did all the licensing and rights for Ringer's Lord of the Fans. Like, you know Warner Brothers is really strict on their property and IP.
Do you know what we got in trouble for? We got in trouble for using a Getty image, which we licensed, okay? We licensed a picture of Walt Disney because we were making a reference to Walt Disney impacting the fantasy film environment because Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out the same year that The Hobbit was published in the late 30s.
The same holiday season.
You know why we got in trouble? It wasn't because we used the picture of Walt Disney. We got in trouble because Walt was drawing a picture of a certain mouse. We had not licensed the use of Mickey Mouse.
Oh my
But we had
gosh.
licensed the use of the image because it had Mr. Disney in it himself. So we had to redo all that. It's crazy pants getting
Speaking
past
of license,
all that. It's crazy.
we also have an issue with your movie Ringer's Lord of the Fans.
Oh.
Right now, licensing.
Oh, yeah? Do we?
You know, you guys Indiegogo'd an amazing $200,000 one last party for The Hobbit to celebrate all things Hobbit here in Hollywood. We
did.
live streamed the whole thing. 2 channels, 10 cameras. It was amazing. We left that live stream video up on YouTube, And boy, oh boy, did people just notify me a couple weeks ago that the audio is muted on the entire 10-hour live stream video archive.
Because of that.
Because of your trailer. What song is in the trailer?
Led Zeppelin's Ramble On. The classic Ramble On.
How did you license that?
Because Led Zeppelin are the biggest J.R.R. Tolkien fans in the world. They're bigger Ringer fans than you and I, brother. Let me tell you.
Well,
And
I agree with me.
when we approached them and said, we're making this awesome little documentary about the phenomenon of the Lord of the Rings and the people who adore it over these generations, they said, yes, we'd be glad to license a song for you, and it's in the trailer, and therefore...
You have the rights. You're totally clear. You've
Yes.
got the rights.
We have the rights,
You paid
yes.
the fees. You've
Yes.
got the contracts.
We have the paperwork.
So
yes.
now I have to go to the YouTube copyright cops, and with
say, "This
your
is-"
license...
And say, this is real. This
So,
is
so there is
but
less
we were the
than,
first independent filmmakers to ever get Led Zeppelin to agree to giving us one of their bloody songs from their catalog.
That's how much they love the Lord of the
That's
Rings.
how much they love the Lord of the Rings, because they had never
Well,
licensed their music to anybody.
We
ever.
showed the trailer to Ringer's Lord of the Fans at the one last party. The audio clip from Led Zeppelin is no more than 20 seconds.
No more
long.
than 30 seconds.
No more than 30 seconds long. That's all you could afford.
That's right.
So the entire 10-hour live stream
That's all I could afford.
has been totally muted because one 30-second audio clip. Now, let me repeat that. 10 hours of hobbits and dragons and actors and all of William Kircher singing and everything.
Performers, everything.
And they muted 10 hours of wonderful content that you guys paid for because of a 30-second audio snippet from your trailer.
Are you sure that it wasn't one of the songs that was licensed
100%.
by Williams Band?
YouTube actually tells me the time code and the
the time
song
code. Okay.
that they muted the whole thing.
Because of that.
So,
Well,
thanks,
guess what?
buddy.
Don't rub it in my face, brother. I, as a producer, did my due diligence. We hired a couple of attorneys to do all clearances with us, and I learned a thing or two in the process. And God willing and the creek don't rise, you will be able to go to the awful draconian YouTube lawyers, and you'll be able to tell them, back up, everything's legit. And then we'll get the audio back up on that 10-hour live stream. But you know what?
Some people really enjoy going back and watching the memories of that.
It was really quite a night. It was an amazing event.
It was an amazing night. Now, but before we get into our main topic tonight, which is we want to talk about the $500 million budget that has been going around. In fact, Yahoo News just reposted it. We've been saying this for 6 months. Yes. So let's talk about the $500 million budget of the new Lord of the Rings Amazon series.
Why is it Yahoo News is always the last news cycle to get the news?
It's because they need the hits. They need the hits. So, but before then, we want to talk a little bit about Middle Earth March Madness. But before we do that, again, why are we here at the Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood? Because we're gonna open this up to you, the fans, to come join us.
Please.
We want. I'm sick of talking to this guy alone.
No.
I need you guys to feel my burden.
Who is sick of talking to whom?
I need you guys to be here and give me emotional support.
Homie, don't play that. I'm going back to the 90s. I'm going back to In Living Color. You're too young to remember that. But homie, don't play that. I'm telling you. No. Look, I love talking to this guy all the time. He knows that we have great conversational style. I'm the Ebert. He's the Siskel. This is how it works. It's not like we're, competing journalists working across the Chicago River in competing newspapers, but the playful rivalry that we have here is only going to be augmented by you wonderful people coming to this experience here live. We're going to have guests. We're going to have guest stars. We're going to have guests you don't even know are stars, and you're going to be here live with us having delicious food, drinks, and hobbity delicious goodness.
And this place is all ages, right? Like
all
this
ages.
is a restaurant, right?
This is a This is
all ages till it's dark.
It's the place to be, and you're all invited. And in the coming weeks,
come on down.
We're going to be making some announcements that you're going to want to be part of. Trust.
A lot of those announcements will be at WonderCon, which is we've got to talk about. But let's just show you a little bit of our capabilities here.
WonderCon is coming up right on
this weekend.
On this weekend, it's coming up fast.
So let's take a look. Cliff, camera 2, ready?
Camera 2, ready?
1, 2, 3.
Hey, camera 2. Da da da! What's up over there, camera 2?
Camera 3.
Where's camera 3?
1.
Oh, it's way over
2,
there, isn't it?
1, 2, 3.
Da da da! Hey, camera 3.
Camera 3.
What's up? Oh wow, that's a pretty good.
And then let's go. Right?
Hey.
That's a nice little like profile shot. Like when you really want to get serious.
Too funny. Okay. Oh wait, that's the big wide zoom camera.
Yeah. So look how much space we have for the audience here. You guys can be here in your cosplay. Bring your weapons shielded. Bring your bows and arrows. Bring all your orcish and entish things. And you could be right here sitting at the bar with us like we're having a conversation like Billy Joel would sing. Right? And then we've got one more camera.
Do you want me to break out into the Piano Man?
That points at one of the booths. So if you wanted to sit in the booth and be a little hobbit in the booth, we can do that. So
how long before we have people doing like a sing-along? Like, you know, those hobbits drinking and singing along here.
If we started getting you guys here, we would close the show every week with a Hobbit song.
We would. Oh, it would be huge.
Probably an animated Hobbit song.
And then we'd get shut down for, you know, copyright infringement again.
Not if we
doing
sing
the Hobbit
it.
Song.
We have performance rights. As long as we don't play the background music.
Okay, fair enough.
We can sing the lyrics, can't we?
I'm down. I'm totally down, guys.
All right, so this is our main shot right here.
It's right there. No, it's this.
It's this.
Oh, this is our main.
It's this. So.
Hey, I'm gonna lean into the bar here and get all casual.
Well, now that I'm looking this way.
What's up?
I can see the chat room here.
What's up, everybody?
Look, we've got
Look at us relaxing.
We've got a good turnout in the chat room. I see Hannah. I see Pete, Elizabeth Buckles, Ellen, Diane, Jared. I see Mary Lou. All the regulars. You guys have been with us for so long here.
You have got to increase the type size. The font is so small, I can't even read that.
Oh,
Are you
man,
kidding
you're
me?
old.
You're old, Grandpa.
You're so old.
You are the one who's old. I'm just trying to see through these eyeballs right here. You need to jump up that font size.
Is that better?
That's so much better. There you go.
All right, can you see now?
I'm the one who has a magic portrait. Hey, I'm the one with a magic portrait up in my attic, absorbing my age. You're using an evil ring. You're using an evil ring to extend your life.
You're not joking. I've got the one ring right here from Badali Jewelry.
Hi, Ellen. There's Elizabeth. There's Pete.
This is from the Tolkien estate.
This looks really good, guys. This looks really, really good.
All right, can you read the text now?
I can.
Okay.
Hey, Pete. Hey, Ellen. Hey, everybody.
You need a light on that column. What else do we need? Look.
Oh, yes. Ellen is a lighting designer, and she definitely knows.
Oh, you know what? Look.
Ellen, you're a lighting. Guess what, Ellen?
Ellen, come on down. We'll
Please.
The first 2 rounds are on us.
Yes.
Help us make this Hobbit.
I'll buy you a green goo out of this bubbling contraption, and you'll have the first round of
we
drinks
call it
on
the
me.
green leaf, right?
The green leaf? The
green leaf juice? Legolas Greenleaf? That's his name, right? Greenwood or Greenleaf?
His name is Legolas Greenleaf. You know how unusual...
So that's Greenleaf juice.
It's unusual, but he was never called Prince Greenleaf, but he is. Okay, yeah, Ellen, if you want to, then you're more than welcome to share some of your talents.
Full grid
with us.
Let me tell you, Ellen as a lighting designer, there is a full grid of full color LEDs. What do you call these? Strobos? What type of lights? Gobos? We got lasers in here. You guys can't even see the lasers, but there's a full assortment of full color LEDs. Help us make this more hobbity.
Yeah, we've got all the lights, and you can, well, if you want to, you can apply some
I wonder if we can
amazing instincts.
Dial in our colors and then save that as like a setting. So like when we come in, it goes into Hobbit colors, like the Hobbit bar.
I'm down.
And then at night, it goes back to the Kevin Smith, Smodcast colors, and then
look at the hearts
because Kevin
we're getting.
Smith does his show right here.
J. Anthony Guadalajara, hello, sir. And there's
hello, my fellow ringers from Kaylin Griffin. Hello.
Hey, Kate. There's Helen. A bunch of folks joining us live.
Helen
Welcome to the live
says
show.
Legolas is a direct translation of the words green and leaf.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. But I always thought it was funny that he never got called Prince Greenleaf. He was never referred to as Prince, not in the movies anyways. Only once or twice.
He was never a prince, because
He
Thranduil is never a kin.
He is the Elven King.
Oh, he is.
Thranduil is the bloody king. Sometimes in the book, Legolas gets referred to as the Prince of the Greenwood. I think maybe one obtuse reference, but
The Greenwood becomes Mirkwood
eventually
when the spiders come in.
Mirkwood.
But he's named Greenleaf.
He is Greenleaf. Now,
I always get confused. Greenleaf lives in the Greenwood.
where would we interview Orlando? Because we're going to invite him to come and do an interview here. Should we have him stand up at the bar with us? Or is he going to be sitting over there in the booth?
You know, there's three options here. We could do an interview in the booth, like you and Orlando, and just call it a day. We could
in
have
the booth?
you,
No, that would be a cage match.
You could have.
And we need a bloody cage match with me and Orlando and see who bloody wins.
You guys can sit at the bar right here. You could be his server and just like,
no,
what do you have,
you
kid?
could be his server. What?
You're a professional server.
I'm not a professional server.
What do you mean?
Well,
you used to work at the Magic Castle serving magic drinks.
Magic drinks? I did. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you want me to be the bartender now instead of the host?
And just asking them a question like,
what?
so,
Okay.
so how's life?
Oh, that's funny. The drunker I get him, the more candid his responses become.
Right.
The stronger my mixology, the better my drinks, the better my interview goes. Now you've gotten me thinking about this style. It's going to be better than drunk
Hey, thank
history.
you for this text.
It'll
Love
be better
seeing
than drunk
Torn
history.
Tuesday at Scum and Villainy. So perfect. Thank you for the text again.
It is perfect. This
We
is
have-
the perfect new home
We
for
haven't
us.
figured out the graphic overlays yet. I'm working on that. But if you want to text us, it's 530-64-FRODO.
For Frodo.
That's really our phone number. Our text messages come in right here, 530-64-FRODO.
For Frodo.
Yeah. Cliff was trained by Bob Anderson. You absolutely were, weren't you?
Trained by Bob Anderson?
Yeah. And Peter Sword's king and every.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? My sword training is really insignificant compared to Orlando's. In a cage match, I'm sure Orlando would totally take me down and shred me to little foil pieces. There'd be nothing left. However, if we're a battle of the wits and we're doing like Tolkien trivia, because you know who else we have to invite for Tolkien trivia?
Huh.
Stephen Colbert. Now we have a place for Mr. Colbert to literally come here and do the super ultimate geek showdown.
Oh, speaking
The
of
geek showdown.
Speaking of Tolkien geeks, you know what I just saw on Instagram this week?
We've invited him for many years to come and do a geek showdown.
I didn't
We
know.
really have.
Look, I didn't know this guy was a Tolkien fan.
Who?
I've worked with him before.
Who?
I'm gonna see if I can reach out. But he just posted on Instagram within the last week that he used to draw maps of Middle Earth when he was in junior high school, and he's moving right now in the Hollywood Hills. He's moving houses, and he found these old hand-drawn maps.
No.
Mr. Moby.
Moby himself?
The DJ himself.
Hallelujah. He's the coolest.
Godfather of electronic music.
The godfather of American electronic music.
And-
He's a single man pioneer in the EDM world. If you guys
And
don't
he
know who
lives
Moby
up the
is,
street.
you millennials need to wake up and
He
look up
literally
Moby.
lives up the street in
Okay.
Beechwood, and
He's really.
he's a Tolkien fan. So we have got to find a
call
way
him.
to get to Moby and get him down here at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. And I don't know if he drinks. I know Moby is healthy. Like, he's all about the vegetarian, vegan, and
Yes, he
poverty
is.
lifestyle.
Wait. Did you know that Moby also contributed to a Ralph Bakshi animated film?
Wait,
There's
what?
another connection to the Lord of the Rings.
All right, you got to explain that.
In his later career, Ralph Bakshi directed a little-known film called Cool World. Remember that? Hollywood, if she could. And tonight, she will. That was in the newspaper ads when Cool World. Because who wants to have sex with a cartoon? No,
Brad Pitt did.
it was not Brad Pitt's character. Even though Brad Pitt was in the movie, it was Gabriel Byrne who had sex with a doodle. Yes, sorry, it was Gabriel Byrne.
Wait, he lives in L.A., doesn't
Anyways, Moby provided a really
he? No,
awesome song.
David Byrne does.
David Byrne, yes.
Not Gabriel Byrne.
Gabriel Byrne, the Irish actor.
Wasn't he Satan?
No, that was Peter Stormare.
Oh, right.
Peter Stormare played Lucifer in Constantine, directed by Francis
No,
Lawrence.
I'm thinking of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie End of Days.
Oh, okay. I'm not thinking of that. Anyways,
Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne and Ralph Bakshi, Brad Pitt. The movie is called Cool World.
Hi, Megan.
Hi, Megan. Within that soundtrack, Moby. So Moby probably has some stories to tell us about working with Ralph Bakshi. Maybe we should interview him.
Oh, man.
We should interview Moby right now.
I have a list of questions
Right
in
now.
my head. Like, we could probably go all in on Tolkien and not even talk about music.
Yeah, you're right. We probably could avoid. That would be refreshing for him to not talk about the multiple Grammys that he's won and the world tours he's done and the amazing pioneering work he's done.
We
in
could start to
electronic
have
music.
a competition with Kevin Smith like we used to have with Chris Hardwick, which is who can book the biggest guests in the same location.
Yeah, dude.
On the same
Okay.
day. Remember like Chris Hardwick would book all these comedians and then he'd come upstairs into the attic and we'd have like the Hobbit actors there or Noel Stevenson and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" And like, "What are you doing?"
We're booking our own folks. You know what?
We've got to get Moby now that we're
We do. We
kind
have
of
to get
dialed
Moby.
in here.
Did he publish that on his Instagram?
I believe so.
Oh heck, man!
It's
that
either
is so cool.
Instagram or Twitter, but look up Moby. You'll find his official channels. So we're in full booking mode now that we have an awesome
Yes.
space. But we want you guys to be a part of it. So plan on coming down here at 5 p.m. in the middle of the afternoon.
You never know who's going to show up. You know, Dominic Monaghan lives up the road, not far from here.
That's right.
Yeah, literally up this
actually-
road, Cahuenga, up there in the hills.
He actually walked or ran this part of the LA Marathon. He like walked down from his house.
Yeah,
Got a
he did.
coffee.
Yeah.
Ran 2 blocks and then called it a day at the LA Marathon this last Sunday.
Hey, Jared, what was that question, Jared? The chat is moving rather fast, isn't it?
Well, it's moving fast because you made me make the text so big that I
Good.
can only fit like 3 things on the screen at once. It's
Good.
kind of annoying. Look,
No, it's great. It's great. Just enlarge the window. Make the window
before
bigger.
we start talking about budgets and $500 million, let's talk about Middle Earth March Madness. Now,
Do you guys want a popularity contest in Middle Earth that is like no other popularity contest? This is our annual
You
March
have-
Madness. It happens now.
You have to explain this to me because what
It
I
is-
know about March Madness, I'm a UCLA kid. I grew up in LA.
Yeah.
I follow college basketball. So I know that 64 teams in college basketball earn the right to play in the brackets. And if they lose, they're out of the competition. And then you got the first round, the second round. Then you
Yes.
got the Sweet 16, then
Yep.
the Elite 8, and then the Final Four. That's when like the big hype. So
Yeah.
the Final Four leads to the NCAA basketball championship. So
It's
that's
true.
that's what I know about the brackets, and it's all schools and
College,
but
all college basketball.
all college,
of course.
But the
Non-pros.
the winner of basketball, like you have to win the basketball game to proceed. So what is this Middle Earth March Madness, and how do people proceed?
We replicate a bracket as if you were trying to choose and predict what teams are going to go up against each other and make it further down the bracket. This is just a voting contest. There really is no competition. The characters are not put into a virtual world where we shake them up in an egg shaker and then see who comes out alive. We don't even do that. It's up to you guys, the voters. You, the audience, will every week push your votes in every bracket further and further until we have a lot of them eliminated. Can you show us that bracket?
Yeah,
Mr. Justin.
Well, yeah, we've got it on screen
He's
right
going
now.
to pull this up right now, guys, and you can take a look. Middle Earth March Madness is an opportunity for you to continue voting over and over again and see how close you can get to accurately predicting the winner. You can print out this bracket at home and write down who you think is going to win, and then see how close you get to reality by the time you're at the end of this process. And it's really fun. Really, really fun. Middle Earth March Madness is way better than basketball.
Helen Ford in the chat room
Thanks, Jen.
says, "I am in Scotland and want to find a way to come here." Scotland, does this bracket mean anything to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. For our European audience, do you even watch NCAA basketball, or
Do you even have a chance to watch it?
does any? That's funny.
That's my main question. So, look, so basically, there were a lot of comments on Twitter. Now we've done this every year for over a dozen years, and
Yeah.
and there were a lot of comments on Twitter that
Yeah.
that the actors
This is a very popular
show
thing.
up twice in this bracket. Now, can you explain the logic behind the 64, the first 64 matchups? Like, there's no book characters in here. There's nothing here, but sometimes there is. So every year, the One Ring kind of changes it up, don't they? Like every year they come up with a new bracket of characters and actors and literary figures to compete. Because some years I think I've seen J.R.R. Tolkien himself in the mix against C.S. Lewis, against George R.R. Martin. So sometimes every year it's different, but this year
this is completely different because we're trying to get a showdown of the same actors playing different characters. For example, how would Sean Astin's Rudy go up against Sean Astin's Samwise? So that's why these characters are here.
So the logic is we're taking all of the actors from the movies
and showing us some of their most familiar characters and then trying to figure out how they're going to withstand in competition.
So at the end, like,
isn't that crazy?
In the finals, we could end up with Sean Astin versus Sean Astin.
You could.
Or Richard Armitage
but
versus Richard Armitage.
That would be Rudy versus Samwise if it comes out like that.
But it's not just that. There's old Bilbo versus young Bilbo, correct? Like, because you've got Martin Freeman
there is.
versus Ian Holm.
Yeah, there's Ian McKellen as Magneto, and there's also Ian McKellen as Gandalf in the same division.
Yeah. It's an interesting matchup.
This is really, really fascinating because it is such a departure from the previous years that we've done this, and I think this is really, really cool. Actually.
How is it a departure?
Are we showing it? Well,
yes, we're showing this
because it's a departure because this is the first time we've introduced
non-Lord of the Rings characters.
Yeah, non-Lord of the Rings characters, but still the common denominator is the Lord of the Rings actors and how they would go up in this bracket.
Hela versus Galadriel.
Yes, Hela, the queen of death, the goddess of death.
Hela
versus Galadriel,
has got to be,
Lady of Light.
We can have another discussion about the MCU and Infinity War, but I believe that all of the Lord of the Rings actors that are currently bad guys in the MCU are going to return in Infinity War Part 2. I think Infinity War Part 2,
is so cool.
Something's going to happen with Thanos in this movie that we're going to get this year. And then the next movie, you're going to see not Benedict Cumberbatch. You're going to see Elrond. You're going to see Galadriel. You're going to see all of the MCU bad guys come back in Infinity War Part 2.
Including Red Skull?
Yes.
Well, you'll definitely see Hela come back because
she has to.
She's
the best part.
We're assuming that she's going to fuel the relationship with Thanos, and therefore give Thanos his motivation to do what he does.
Wouldn't that be a killer ending of Infinity War Part 1 that comes out in a month or so? Well, when like at the edge of destruction of the entire known galaxy, Hela shows up and Thanos falls instantly in love. And whoa, I'm excited for it now.
Can you imagine?
This is back to this. Now let's go back to some of our matchups here. Now, all of the voting is officially at theonering.net, but we've put a couple of the matchups on Facebook here because Facebook's got this funny little GIF situation. Like you can have matchups and show little GIFs. So this morning we posted one of the first seeds, which is Legolas versus Aragorn.
Yes.
Up to now, there's been about 4,800 votes. Who do you think is in the lead right now?
Oh, Legolas.
Legolas? By how much?
By 20 points. I'm assuming Legolas is ahead by over 20 points, 20 percentage points.
Legolas is getting crushed. He is 1/3 of Aragorn.
Whoa, Aragorn has like 3.6 thousand
3,600 votes for Aragorn, 1,200
for Legolas. Well, I was wrong.
No love.
Oh, I was so wrong on that.
No love for... You totally got it. The elves.
Totally got that wrong.
The time of the elves is over.
It is.
All of the fangirls that were all about Legolas. Nope. The men are back in charge.
The time of men is at hand.
The time of men is at hand.
Gosh, that's hilarious.
Now
that's hilarious.
Now let's go back to the one we posted last night, Master of Lake Town, Stephen Fry, versus Evangeline Lilly as Tauriel. Who do you think is in the lead, and by how much?
I think Tauriel is in the lead, and maybe by similar numbers. But that's just my gut instinct. And you know how wrong that has been proven before.
You know, the interesting, but before we show the results, I just want to say that it is almost impossible to find a GIF of the Master of Lake Town.
Yes, it is.
There is no Giphies of the Master of Lake Town.
Because
and it's
his character was so disgusting to look at.
And he's got no name. You search for Master in Giphy, you get stuff you don't want to see.
Meow meow.
So let's see what Tauriel has.
Oh
my goodness. 3,000 for Tauriel and under 1,000 for the Master of Lake Town.
Master of Lake Town has less than 800 votes.
Elizabeth Buckles, I don't know if you're in the chat room, but there's your vote. I'm sorry we just outed you.
Yeah.
And your vote, your votes are not private at the OneRing.net.
No, they're not. Okay, that's brilliant.
So 3,000 to 700, man, that is like a 5x. Masters is getting crushed by Tauriel.
That was predictable.
The interesting thing, though, is that we go to the comments, and all the comments are like hating on Tauriel.
No, they're hating on the storyline where there was a love triangle between, you know, an elf character that never existed and a dwarf character who never had a relationship with an elf, and they're really just they're not ticked off about Tauriel. They've always complained about how
I am not ashamed. Elizabeth, you own that vote.
Good, Elizabeth. You know what they're complaining about the Feely Tauriel and jealous.
And that was a total.
And the jealous, dirty looks that Orlando Bloom gives her.
And that
in
was
half of the movie.
Here's the problem with Guillermo del Toro winning for the love story is that everyone thinks that Guillermo created that love triangle. No. Guillermo did not create a love story. We've talked to Evangeline Lilly. She read the original script written by Guillermo del Toro, which they tossed, and they rewrote from scratch with Fran and Philippa Boyens, Oscar winners.
However, it's not the first time in Tolkien's history that a dwarf was so enamored by a fair maiden of the elves that he fell in love with her. It happened in the Silmarillion, and God knows it happened when Gimli asked, you know, the Lady Galadriel for a golden hair from her beautiful head.
Look at this comment.
And she gives him 3.
That's right.
He has like, I have looked my last upon that which is fairest. And Gimli is so smitten by Galadriel. It is not uncommon to think that a dwarf, who usually is only paying attention to his craft and his jewels and his gold and his craft of making beautiful things under the mountain, J.R.R. Tolkien tells us that only 1/3 of the dwarven population even bothered to get married. 2/3 of them did not want marriage. They were too dedicated to their lives as craftsmen and the miners.
You know, I would not have pegged the dwarf communities as liberals.
As what? As liberals? No, the dwarves are not
I would
painted
think
as
they
liberals.
were very conservative.
The dwarves are always painted as very, very, very conservative.
Yeah.
But you're making a false equivalency that dedication to marriage is the same thing as a hallmark of conservatism. Because it's not.
Another topic.
That's a completely gross mistake to make that.
And we can talk about that in another review of Shadowlands.
I'm trying to tell you that it is not unusual in J.R.R. Tolkien for a dwarf to fall in love with an elf maiden. However, in The Hobbit, the fans of Peter Jackson's films did not appreciate the love triangle, and that's mostly where the criticism comes from.
And that love triangle was because the studios actually demanded it Anyway, I wanted to go to a couple comments. Look, we're back at the Tauriel versus the Master of Lake Town, and the top comment with 49 hearts on it says, probably the 2 single worst characters ever put into a Peter Jackson film.
Oh, that's harsh.
How do you choose between Jar Jar Binks and Howard the Duck of The Hobbit?
That's a smackdown. That is
I
really unfair. That is really unfair.
I feel like that is totally unfair to call Jar Jar Binks and Howard the Duck.
It's funny.
Like, look, first off, Alfred is the Jar Jar Binks of The Hobbit.
Yes, Alfred
Brian Gage.
His last name, believe it or not, and I know
he should not exist.
I know the character's last name, and I'm ashamed to know it, but Alfred Lickspittle is the Jar Jar Binks of the Hobbit trilogy, not the esteemed Stephen Fry, who plays the Master of Lake Town with a quite disgusting air. But what's more interesting to me is that Howard the Duck is getting criticized as a bad thing, but now that he's been brought back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, everybody's all about Howard the Duck now, and they reprinted the comic books to great success, and they were really quite interesting.
That's right.
Anyways, Division 3
All right,
voting in March Madness.
So again, we're in the first round, Division 3. Let's
that
go
was
to
close.
The thing.
That's really bloody close.
You think this one's close? Okay, we put Saruman against Thorin Oakenshield.
Do you believe how close that got? I'm really surprised that Thorin squeaked by with that one.
Can you believe?
Really surprised.
Can you? I am surprised that the fans voted Thorin over Christopher Lee's Saruman.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really surprised too. I really, really am.
You guys, what's going on? Let's see if we can get any of our chat room people on the hook. Let's see if anyone voted for Thorin. We're going to out you right now. Oh my gosh, the founder of the OneRing.net, the co-founder of the One Ring, Chris Parada, voted Thorin over Saruman.
Oh no, did he really?
What? Look, we're moving on.
That is ridiculous.
We are moving on, okay? Gosh, I can't, like, Facebook showed it to me twice. Thanks, Facebook. And of course, look at this one. Old Bilbo versus Faramir. Can you believe this?
Wow, Faramir beat original Bilbo, not young Martin Freeman Bilbo.
Ian Holmes' Bilbo was bested by David Wenham as Faramir. Cliff,
Wow.
5,000 votes, over 5,000 votes.
Yeah, 5,500 votes.
This
That's
is-
really mind-blowing.
Who voted for Faramir?
You
I
guys-
want you in the chat room. Tell me who you voted for right now. I'm not going to out you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a surprise.
Like, what is going? How why? Is there something going on politically that people want heroes like Faramir now?
Are these polls actually becoming the names of the winners filled in on the March Madness bracket?
No, this is just a preview. Again, Facebook.
Okay, let's clarify.
Facebook polls with the funny little gifs only count for one vote, and
Only count as
you
one
have,
vote?
You have to go to the OneRing.net to vote, because
Yes.
all of the matchups.
If you're doing all of your voting exclusively on Facebook, that's not really the vote.
That's not really the vote. You
It's not.
have to go to the top.
So, yeah, let's really make that point super clear. We're using the Facebook page as a barometer to read the popularity of where people really are going. But the vote for the bracket has to be on the original website. I hate to say this, guys, but open up your browser and point your bloody URL to www.theonering.net.
No, if you want to be really good, you go the full
Old
route.
school.
Lowercase
HTTP:
www.
dot
The One Ring.
THEONERING.net.
And the first post, you'll see all of these voting matchups. Sean Bean Boromir versus John Rhys Davies Gimli. You've
they're
got
all
John
great.
Noble versus Denethor versus Theoden.
That is so cool. You can vote for Ian Holm as Ash from the original Ridley Scott Alien.
That's
or
right.
Ian Holm as Bilbo.
You can, Lee
CJ,
Pace.
who would you vote for in that contest? Ian Holm from the first Alien film or Ian Holm as classic Bilbo? What's your vote, CJ? He's absorbed in work over there. What about you guys?
we've got
Anybody? Peanut Gallery?
Bilbo.
Voting for, not for Ash from the original Alien.
All right, let's.
All right, all
let's,
votes are for Bilbo. Thank you.
I don't want
That's loyalty, brother.
All right.
You are welcome in my clan anytime.
Luke
That's
Evans
loyalty.
as Gaston versus Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith in The Matrix.
It's pronounced weaving. No, wait, really? Luke Evans?
And Hugo Weaving is crushing Luke Evans.
Hugo Weaving's
as well. He should. So you have to go to the OneRing.net to cast your full vote. The Facebook is just a preview.
This is so cool, though, isn't this?
The Facebook is just a preview.
So the voting on the OneRing.net is all brackets, all at the same exact time?
All the time. You can vote for all 64 matchups.
And continually vote over and over and over
and
and over.
the first round goes until Thursday. and then we tally up the votes, and then we go to the second round.
Can you vote as many times as you want on the OneRing.net?
You can only place one vote
for your IP address, because it tracks your IP address, and you know that's your vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Elizabeth Buckle says, "I must go vote." Yes, you must. So our Skype is open if you want to call in. Our Skype.
Oh, Edwin. Edwin says Benny Hill would have been a better Denethor. Ooh. Somebody does not like John Noble as
could you
Denethor.
Not like John Noble?
Well, a lot of people love John Noble in other programs like Fringe. Raise your hand, you guys. Fringe, brilliant. I'll get the hell out of here. Fringe is awesome. One of the very last things that Leonard Nimoy starred in, significant role for Leonard Nimoy before he died. And John Noble, who evidently, you know, one of our friends in the chat really thinks that John Noble was a terrible Denethor. If you think Benny Hill could have played the part better, you know,
boy.
that reminds me of Benny Hill. He played the toy maker in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Remember that?
Cliff, look, we got our first Skype.
Oh, I'm reaching to the ancient past.
Guess who it is?
Well, what do you know? It's Emily. Welcome back to the show, Emily.
I hit answer.
Did it work?
It should work.
It's not working. Maybe it is working. Oh, there's Pippin.
There you are.
Hey, Pippin. Hey.
I can't hear anything.
We can see you. Do you hear us?
We can't hear you. She can't hear us.
There's no sound.
There's no sound. I don't know. Here, let's try this other one. Call us back in a second. We're gonna try this one. See if this one works. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Perfect. All right. Buckles, you need to figure stuff out. Hi. How are you?
Funny. Hey, welcome back to the show.
I'm alright.
Hey, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Emily from England.
No, we know that, but we just want you to introduce yourself to the audience, of course.
What time is it where you're at?
It is 20 to 1 in the morning.
20 to 1. Should we keep our voices down?
You're a late.
Probably.
You're a late night, a late nighter, staying up late.
Well, I'm supposed to be starting working for Brownie Guides, and so I had a meeting, so I was late, which finished at about 9:30, and then I've been trying to get the dog to go to sleep, but she's crying in the study, so I can't get to sleep with her crying.
9:30 is 9:30.
9:30 your time, in England time.
That's right.
Right,
yeah.
So tell us.
You had a late meeting, you can't put the dog to bed, so that leaves us the ultimate question. Who are you voting for in your March Madness bracket? Have you been making your votes, Emily?
I haven't actually been onto the site yet.
But have you done the Facebook voting?
Drat.
There's all those Facebook polls. Have you voted?
Give me a few and I'll tell you what I'd vote for them.
You have to go to the OneRing.net again.
Oh, we thought that's what you were calling about, to tell us who you were voting for. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to put in your vote. Like this is very important.
Yeah, otherwise
March Madness is life.
March Madness is a moment in time.
I'll try and do it tomorrow, but I've got work tomorrow, so I'll try and get it in when I'm at home. If not, it'll be on Thursday afternoon once I get back from signing on at the job centre.
I love that.
Excellent.
I love that you schedule your internet time.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
I can appreciate that.
Yesterday I had creative writing. Today I had meetings with the Brownie leaders because, I start next month. Tomorrow I've got work. Thursday I've got to go and sign on at the job centre and go to a different type of meeting. And the rest of the week is free.
That's awesome. Look, I am so happy to hear that you're getting all of this work, that jobs do exist, and it sounds like you're enjoying what you're doing, and all these prospects seem to have you motivated.
Yes, that's very good.
Well, I work as a volunteer in a charity shop, mostly doing cashier work, but also working out the back as well. And then I just thought I love working with kids. I used to be in the Brownies, and I signed up and with the as to work with the Brownies
That is so
because
cute. The
I
Brownies.
still actually even have my sash with all my badges.
the Yankees over here on this side of the pond might not realize that the Girl Scouts of America is the equivalent in England. That is the equivalent group. They're the Brownies.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the girls' club in
You know what?
England. It's super cute. And well done for volunteering for them.
I was gonna
Emily, that's really good.
So Bilbo must not be your favorite character because you know how many jobs Bilbo had? 0.
What?
So that man does not work.
Makes about as much sense as...
He is a 1%er. Hey,
that makes about as much sense as a jumbo shrimp.
it's great to see your face and hear your voice, and we're glad you're back in the mix and tuning in and Skyping with us. I'm so glad that you're back in the regular with Torn Tuesday.
Yes, it's good to see you back.
I come in when I got the time and I'm awake. I mean, sometimes I'm really, really tired on a Tuesday night. Sometimes I'm wide awake, but I certainly am wide awake because all I can hear from the study, because my bedroom's also down, is crying from the dog.
Oh, that poor puppers. Well, why don't you go and
she doesn't want to go to bed tonight.
give that puppers a warm glass of milk and tuck her into bed, okay, Emily? Do that maternal thing that you do. Get that.
I've already tried taking her out of bed twice tonight and calming her down and putting her back, and she don't want to go to bed. She's just screaming and scratching at the door.
Well,
that's amazing.
You need to get to bed eventually, so
she needs your attention. Yeah. But we appreciate you giving us your attention tonight. And
thanks for coming.
Problem is, if you keep going in and getting her, she'll just keep on screaming. So sometimes you just got to leave her to cry until she cries herself to sleep.
Excellent child psychology. Excellent child psychology.
All right, we're going to open up the line so other people can keep trying to call. Yeah. Thanks for calling.
All right.
Bye. Bye, sweetheart. See you next time.
Bye.
Oh, man. All right, try again. I forget who called.
Pippin.
Pippin
had tried to call in, one of our original audience members from 6.5 years ago.
Obviously, it's working. So
it should work.
It should work. Try plugging in your headset again and then calling us again.
We're going to ask a few more people about what they're voting on the March Madness brackets, and then we have to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is Amazon's TV show.
All right, we're getting another call.
Hey there, you're live on the air. Who's this?
It's Pippin.
Hey, it's Pippin. I can hear your voice beautifully now.
Well, that's better than last time because I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you, but now we can see you. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually just getting over a decently bad cold.
Oh my gosh! But is that you got a college hat on?
Yeah. I'm more paying attention to the hockey side of college.
Oh. Do they have a March Madness bracket for hockey?
Yes, they do. They do.
Really?
Their March Madness starts this weekend.
Oh,
my team is #1 in the country.
Oh, nice.
Really?
That is nice.
Well.
Yeah, St. Cloud State is #1 in the country.
We have, believe it or not, in a hot, sunny place like Los Angeles, we have ice hockey here as well.
I don't know where.
The Kings, right? The Kings?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Kings
and the Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks, yeah.
So, have you been voting on Middle Earth March Madness?
No, I don't go on Facebook very often.
But do you go to the website?
No, this is the vote just on our regular website.
I did vote earlier, though.
Well, since you haven't voted, I wanted to ask you one question as we go into talking about budget. What do you think they should spend the most money on, the new Lord of the Rings series?
Actors, I don't know.
Music, visual effects, shooting in New Zealand?
Yeah, good question.
Well, yeah, probably.
I mean,
I don't know. I haven't paid much attention. I've been busy doing other things.
Busy living life.
Well, maybe shooting in New Zealand and effects and not using green screen.
I agree.
As much as possible.
I agree with you on that. How about more bigatures and a lot less green screen? Like the way that they
I'd prefer that.
Rings, huh? Yeah.
And I just feel like, do you think like they should spend the money on Howard Shore and the full orchestra, or maybe like we have the Shore themes to work with, so you can bring someone else like Star Wars is doing. Like John Williams doesn't do all the Star Wars movies anymore.
Yeah.
But there's ways to like focus on spending money over here versus over there. They don't need to recreate Lord of the Rings. They're here to make something new.
It doesn't really matter to me. It's not like it's not.
We have a
the
world
music
of
isn't
strong
like
opinions
the
in
music
our
isn't.
fandom. Are you kidding me? We have nothing but strong opinions in our fandom. You must have a feeling for this, Pippin. Come
The
on.
music isn't as much of a maybe I don't know what the right word, maybe a big deal as the music for Star Wars.
Okay.
So it wouldn't matter as much to me who they got to do the music, but it's just more iconic for Star Wars to have John Williams, and now that he's retiring, it's going to be a little bit different to not have him.
So what is the priority for you? Would it be getting the same actors or staying true to Tolkien and his books? Like what is the most important priority?
Staying true to the books as much as they possibly can, and the characters. Do we know what stories they're doing?
Anything between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
So not a lot.
No,
They're doing 2 seasons, up to 50 episodes.
There's thousands of years of history in the appendix right here. They can even go through stuff that we haven't thought they can go through. Even the word Valar appears in the Lord of the Rings. They can actually do some Silmarillion light. They can do like a lighter approach to the content that takes us way, way back in time. They could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, if they can get actors back who played their characters, that'd be nice. I mean, you'd have a problem with Sauron though.
Well, digital effects. Look, Star Wars brought back a guy that's been dead for 30 years. Like,
Oh, yeah.
And yet people brought up issues with that.
yeah, this is true.
I thought that Rogue One was flawless in its recreation of Grand Moff Tarkin. Am I? All right, I'm getting thumbs up from the crew. It looks even better.
So
Yeah, see? How about that?
So your focus is if you wanted to prioritize, it's like spend the extra effort making sure everything's book accurate, as close to what Tolkien wrote as possible.
Yes, and there'd be a better chance for me to watch it if, and I know for sure, well, I don't know for sure, but the fact that it's on Amazon, they might decide, hey, let's bring in all these other people and go, here, have some sexual content. Keep that out.
Yeah, we don't
I'd prefer
need
not
love
to have
triangles.
that.
Like, it's okay to have
What?
a love story. Like, love
It's okay
stories
to have
are
a little bit, but you don't have to be like Game of Thrones and throw everything in there.
No. In fact, we want to be completely clear that Star Wars has hired the showrunners of Game of Thrones. So there's absolutely no possible way that the Game of Thrones people will be working on Lord of the Rings.
Let's break
Well,
that down.
that doesn't mean you can't have Game of Thrones elements. I'm just
That's
saying
true.
a little bit of sexual content is okay. I just don't like it when it's hit over the top of the head and then that's all it is, and you don't get any content other than, hey, here's an episode where you can watch 2 characters having sex all the time.
No.
We need content, not that.
No, we know that George R.R. Martin is something of a dirty birdie compared to J.R.R. Tolkien. He really is. He's something of a dirty birdie when it comes to,
But that's-
incest,
But
rape,
the question
sexual
though,
assault.
the question though is, are the people writing this for Amazon, will they keep to that, or will they just go by, hey, look what society wants us to do? Do we want to go by what society thinks or what
they're
we think
paying
what
attention
society
to
wants?
what we're saying right now. They're watching shows like this,
And
they're looking at fans talk to each other on the message boards and on Facebook, and they're starting to assess and make their plans from what we're talking about right now.
To your point, staying true to Tolkien's writing is important because I think Tolkien, it is well known Tolkien was Catholic. He was very religious.
He was super Catholic, and that's why there isn't anything in his books that include, dirty things coming out of your body or
No,
sexual
I
conduct of any
know.
kind.
I'm just saying that a writer could just go, oh well, I want this because we think this is what people want, and that would but I don't
tune you out
know.
immediately.
Wow.
That is a great insight. I hadn't thought of it that way, but I think what you just said is true to many, many fans.
It's very true. What you said is one of the biggest pitfalls that they need to avoid, Pippin, because if they did, as you described it, that would really turn off and alienate a massive fan base if they did that.
Well, it would alienate a lot of the people, and it would definitely alienate a lot of the Catholics who hold his stories to heart.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like anyone who isn't religious can't hold his stories to heart, but as a Catholic, I hold his stories to heart.
Yeah.
And they have a big place for me. So it would be like, you're ruining the story because you think it needs sex. You think it needs this. You think it needs this. No, stick to what it has. If people aren't interested in it because it doesn't have sex, well, then go watch Game of Thrones, because that's not what these stories are supposed to be about.
I think the number one.
It can have something, but it can have something of that, but to have the overarching story just be about that is not okay, because that has nothing to do with the story.
Preach
And
it.
there are writers who don't care about any of that. So.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen up in here? Everybody? Pippin?
That is
laying down the law.
Look,
laying it down.
the one thing that I hope that they do include in writing the show is fear. I don't mind being scared. The Lord of the Rings is very scary. Like at the end of every movie, we actually don't know if someone's gonna die. Like everyone's scared, and I think there's not a lot of shows right now that actually are scary. Right now, it's like, oh, let's see what adventures they get into next time, but they'll always survive. It's like, if for this show to succeed, I think real consequences have to happen. Characters that we fall in love with, they may have to fall into shadow. Like, I think one of the powers of Lord of the Rings is that everybody's terrified. All the characters are terrified, and I think there's something there.
There's a super strong psychology. Even J.K. Rowling realized that and had that type of terror mounting through the book series, so that by the time you get to later Harry Potter books, they're literally fleeing in terror from Death Eaters and Voldemort.
Yeah, terror is, if it's in the story, then I'm perfectly fine. If it's in the story, then it works. If it's not in the story, it shouldn't be there.
Yes. Well, this has been, I love this. We're going to open up the line so other people can call in, but thank you for calling back, and I'm glad we're having this conversation, because this is exactly what I wanted to hear. Me
too.
These are the rules that us fans demand out of Amazon.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot they can get away with. I mean, picture MTV's series, Shannara
Chronicles.
Shannara Chronicles, and they use anachronistic music choices, pop songs, modern rock songs, in a big, sweeping fantasy epic. Most of the Lord of the Rings audience would go apeshit, really upset, if Amazon decided to put anachronistic rock and roll songs or pop songs in their TV series, because it is so far afield from Howard Shore's style.
Yeah, they should do what Doctor Who does. Doctor Who could use all this sci-fi music, but they use full orchestras.
Yeah.
When they could just go with any sci-fi music that they thought, but they use full orchestra. So if they don't do that, that'd be kind of a problem.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, hey, thank you for calling. I'm so glad you're part of the show.
Yeah, thanks for being part of our show for so many years. That's really fantastic.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
It's really good stuff. It's
All
great
right,
to see you.
Bye.
Bye. How about that?
Look, she makes some great points. I will say that speaking of music cues,
Okay.
I
back to
actually enjoyed the Shannara Chronicles using pop music.
Yeah.
You know, there's a current debate on Twitter right now that in the movie Black Panther, when they go to the casino
that. Yes.
in Black Panther,
Which everybody enjoyed a lot more than when they went to the casino in The Last Jedi. But go ahead.
So in Black Panther, they go to the casino, and the music playing in the casino,
Yes.
is Kendrick Lamar singing about Black Panther.
Yep.
So
Kendrick Lamar
so
combined his
it's-
talents for the score.
well,
Yes.
but it's not true to the story. If they're in a bar as Black Panther, no one knows he's Black Panther, but Kendrick Lamar is in the bar or singing about Black Panther. There's a little bit of a cosmic conundrum
Okay.
with
could be.
Black Panther. But I want to
That
say
could be that. If
I want to say this about music, is that I don't know if Howard Shore will want to do a TV series, 24 episodes, or even be a part of it. But do you think the history of rock music is Tolkien? Motorhead,
yeah.
Lemmy did Tolkien music.
Of course it
You
is.
licensed half of the songs for your movie Ringers, Lord of the Fans, Led Zeppelin. Do you think there's a place? Rush?
Heart. When Anne and Nancy Wilson, they love Lord of the Rings.
Like
all these songwriters.
all of those folk singers from
Bowie-
the Hobbit.
Mott the Hoople, Peter Frampton. Back then, all those guys. Look, as Elijah Wood explains in our documentary, there's always been a deep connection with heavy metal and sword and sorcery. It's part of the packaging, it's part of the market, and it's understood, very much so, that a lot of heavy metal musicians have dedicated their musical output to the worlds of Middle-earth and characters and settings in Tolkien. That has happened throughout
So
time.
let me ask you this: do you
Yes.
guys think in the chat room, are you guys watching? Do you guys would you feel comfortable hearing some of that history of popular music and rock music that has been written on or about Tolkien's Legendarium, about Middle-earth? Would you like to hear that in Amazon's TV series?
That would be a weird, interesting thing.
But like it makes the series more pop culture. It makes it more accessible. I can tell you that my dad will probably subscribe to Amazon Prime and watch the show more likely
If there's Simon and Garfunkel in the soundtrack for The Lord of the Rings, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
What
Absolutely. Glenn Yarborough. Like
Okay,
all
yeah.
look, come
may
on.
may he rest in peace.
Look,
Glenn
the
Yarborough.
history of rock and pop and folk
And folk
music,
it's
has
incredibly
is littered
entwined,
with
yeah.
Tolkien.
Do you know what? For something to be a bit more refreshing for the TV format, I would not necessarily say no to some unusual or interesting song choices. I wouldn't say no to that. But
Would you?
a lot of other fans would. I know a major part of the fan base will say Howard Shore or
Or
nothing
nothing.
at all. Really.
So
Really? Howard Shore or
but
nothing?
We know for a fact that Scandinavian metal is almost exclusively influenced by
There-
Tolkien.
There are bands that have dedicated entire albums to being written in dwarven runes and completely like singing about the ancient lines of northern kings and Arnor fighting the Witch King.
So do you-
So many bands have done that.
So should the TV series incorporate, like, should the folk music of Glenn Yarborough be the soundtrack
See?
of the Shire?
Dave
But
Gentry, Christina, everyone's saying no, no, no. See?
What are they saying? Let's see.
saying no.
Helen Ford says, I can't see rock music in Middle-earth, especially given the songs that is published in the books.
But, you
but
know-
there's nothing in this series that is published in the books. This is all new territory.
No, that's not accurate. You cannot say that live on the air, Justin. I'm going to smack you so hard. Everything that they are licensing for $500 million plus is in the bloody book. It's the only stuff. They cannot make up stuff out of nowhere. Why would they bother paying that much money for the opportunity to make up stuff out of nothing?
Look, Ellen
They're
in the chat
paying
room.
to have this.
Ellen
They've
says,
licensed
I would
this book.
Ellen says, I would have no problem with Led Zeppelin in the Amazon series. Some of the greatest music ever written about some of the greatest stories ever written. It would be great.
Yep, some of the greatest music ever made by Led Zeppelin.
If it's used in the correct context,
it's
then yeah.
evergreen. That music is evergreen.
So what if Scandinavian metal was used as themes for the armies of Arnor?
Now
and
you're
stuff
in
like
the territory of where the History Channel has gone with their series of the Vikings.
Yeah.
Vikings has used a musician who is one of the most famous Nordic black metal musicians, and they've got him in there bringing in these heavy, breathy Viking chants and using authentic music instruments that are replicas of the things that Vikings would have used back in the 1200s and the 1100s, and or whatever year it was. You historians out there are going to come at me. Don't come at me because I got the year wrong. But wait a minute, seriously, I would not be averse to having traditional Nordic and Scandinavian vocalizations, sounds, drums, and dark instruments that you would hear around a heavy fire in an old log meeting hall where the Vikings are drinking their mead and talking about their battles of the day.
That's the text message we just got.
I would be so into that, yeah.
We just got a text message that says Middle-earth music
I would be
is
into that.
string and orchestra. Metal worked in Ragnarok, in Thor Ragnarok, but Middle-earth is much more of a refined story. Well, I don't know how refined. There are many stories that can be told now in the context of up to 50 episodes.
Leah Peterson says, even though it would be really great to have some of the original Howard Shore score, it would be a big adjustment to not have Howard Shore. She says it would be awesome if they included some Scandinavian metal. Well, it's a risk. Now that's what this is all about. This conversation is how many risks are they going to take with such an expensive license?
What's the name of that Icelandic band that does all that ethereal music with Jonesy?
Sigur Rós.
How about Sigur Rós?
Sigur Rós.
That's a nice middle ground of like popular culture
Yeah.
and appropriate for elvish singing.
It's perfect. That kind of stuff is really avant-garde, maybe, because you're in the realm of Bjork musicianship with Sigur Rós. Atmospheric and dreamscapes and
Bjork was almost
very
on the
complex
soundtrack,
arrangements.
right?
Bjork was going to sing Gollum's song
In the
for
Two
the Two
Towers.
Towers, but she was preggers. She was about to have labor.
That's
She
a
was
bad
just
word.
about to have that baby come out. And then she said, I'm not going to go into the studio. I'm having childbirth. So I'm not doing that.
Huh. So
Instead,
would you
they-
like to see her return to
Yes.
to Middle Earth? For
I
the
would
first time?
love to see Bjork come back and do some strange atmospheric
You know who was-
soundscapes for Middle Earth.
You know who I saw
I'm down for
at
that.
the Return of the King Oscar party that we put on?
What?
Fiona Apple.
I love Fiona Apple.
I think
I know
Fiona.
people who know her.
I think Fiona Apple would be a wonderful songwriter.
Celtic music. Christina
Of-
says Celtic music.
So,
Like the Celtic music they bring in on that show Outlander. You guys watch Outlander?
hey, what about the guy Lindier? What about the Flight of the Conchords?
Flight of the Conchords.
Is that
I
way?
love it.
Wait, but you're just you guys are telling me
I love
once
Flight of the
that you
Conchords.
don't want that pop culture stuff. It's not appropriate. But then you love Flight of the Conchords for Middle Earth. Come on.
Dave Gentry says, get Enya up in this grill. Enya already got her Oscar. Did she get her Oscar for that song?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think she got an Oscar nomination, but I don't think she won the statue.
Huh.
So I'm going to have to dig that up. Wait a minute. You guys, they are spending a lot of money. The real question is Amazon Television, in their efforts to satisfy the license and satisfy the thirsty, very hungry, thirsty audience.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, we want you guys, as a hungry and thirsty audience, to come here live and join us at the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
On
But-
Hollywood.
on Hollywood and Cahuenga. But if the audience is going to be alienated, then they're going to be afraid to take too many risks. And this really leads back to my ultimate question. Are they going to keep any original actors from Peter Jackson's 6 film set? Are they going to keep any original actors coming back for familiar roles?
Are they gonna-
I'm really
Are they
wondering
going to
about
keep
that.
the familiar
I'm
aesthetics
really wondering.
of Peter Jackson and Weta's work? That's a big question. Now, Cliff, let's break down what $500 million can be spent on. Because
$500 million can be spent on a lot.
It's such a giant number. Now, for context, Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post, the Pulitzer Prize-winning Washington Post.
Yeah, that's true.
The newspaper that broke the Watergate story.
Yes, the Pentagon Papers.
The historic Washington Post for $250 million, and he's spending twice that much on Lord of the Rings.
Because he is confident that he's going to get millions of more subscribers to join Amazon Prime and pay for that.
There was actually a leak last week. If you look it up, Amazon Prime video numbers, I think there was like a leak of the math that Amazon does and of all of their original series to see if it's worth renewing a series. He's already committed to 2 seasons of this. $500 million. You know how many people?
Only 2 seasons? There's got to be more.
Only 2 seasons for
There's
$500
gotta be more.
million. But half that money's already spent. Let's break down how much where the $500 million has gone. First off, $100 million off the top.
$250 million off the top for the license.
150 million. 100 off the top went right to the Tolkien estate.
Really?
So
wow. Okay, I didn't know that. Really, $100 million went straight to the Tolkien estate.
Allegedly, these are the numbers that we've been told. Nothing's been officially released.
That's really something else, dude.
But what could the Tolkien family do with $100 million? I'll tell you what George Lucas did when he sold to Star Wars. He built himself a museum dedicated to Star Wars.
Wow.
So can you imagine the Tolkien library at Oxford? Can you imagine
see where you're going with that.
Oxford getting a library bought and paid for,
like a presidential library, like we have. That would be.
Is the Museum of Narrative Art, which will have many of Peter Jackson's artifacts.
Yes, the
That's
museum.
right.
The Museum of Narrative Art includes many art forms, not just film.
He's got a bunch of Norman Rockwells.
Oh man, that includes comic books,
And
which is called sequential art.
Yeah.
In the tight circles of
But we
geekdom.
were just reminded that Peter Jackson and Weta have already committed Minas Tirith Bigature to the George Lucas Museum in Los Angeles.
I'm so down for
Minas Tirith will live permanently in Los Angeles. You can visit it.
Oh my God, Pete Reitzert, thank you for reminding us. That year at the Oscars, Enya, who was nominated for May It Be in the Fellowship of the Ring soundtrack, she lost that year to Randy Newman, who evidently had done another song for another Toy Story
Another
film.
Pixar movie.
Another Toy Story film
All right,
specifically.
so
yes.
the first hint of what the Tolkien estate can do with their $100 million is coming this summer when they put on a huge retrospective of Tolkien's art and paintings and drawings
That's
at the
coming up.
Bodleian Libraries.
At the Bodleian, which is
in Oxford.
Which is in Oxford, yes. It's
And
one
then-
of the universities within the larger structure of Oxford.
And if you
yes.
can't get to England this summer to see it, they are taking it on tour. And its first stop is New York City. So we will actually, it might even come to the West Coast. Who knows? But we know that I think it is in the near future that we may hear an announcement of the Tolkien family building
Everybody wants that.
the Tolkien library.
The Miyazaki fans want that chance to go to Japan just to see the Studio Ghibli Museum. Lord of the Rings fans would want the same thing, and believe me, they would travel across the hemisphere to go to merry old England.
Well, Cliff,
to go into that Tolkien museum.
You've
It
been
permanently housed these significant things.
Well,
they would love that.
Haven't you been to currently the biggest Tolkien collection available, and that is in Illinois? Just an hour and a half outside Chicago.
It is a very significant collection. The most significant collection, I believe, is in Milwaukee at the Marquette.
Milwaukee?
Marquette University has a stash of Tolkien's original manuscripts.
Well,
Yeah, Marquette has been gifted by the Tolkien estate governorship over many, many important original manuscripts from The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and The Silmarillion.
Well, why did they
that
give it
Tolkien
to
handwrote.
Marquette when Tolkien himself never stepped foot in America?
That was a
Did
deal.
He
I don't
never-
know the terms of that deal,
look,
but that is true.
The author himself was never ever in America
That's
in
true.
his entire lifetime.
That's true.
But if you go to Illinois, I forget the name. I always forget the name of the college in Illinois. But Tolkien's writing desk sits right across from C.S. Lewis's writing desk.
Is that in Joliet? Illinois?
Yes.
Yes. That's in Joliet, right?
Yes.
In the deep suburbs
I feel
of
like
Chicago.
it starts with an N or something like that. But look, so we're talking about $500 million that Amazon's spending on Lord of the Rings.
All right, and you're clear, 100 off the top to...
I believe it's 100 off the top
Boy, that's nuts.
to the Tolkien estate.
That's amazing.
All right, so we're down to 400 million. Where does that go? First off, I've heard over $50 million has gone to pay off everybody that had any claim to the rights of Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, including Harvey Weinstein, MGM,
Oh, Jesus, that name
and
again.
anything Peter Jackson created.
Yeah, this goes back to the lawsuits that they were trying to settle.
Harvey Weinstein was the first Hollywood producer to license Lord of the Rings for a feature action film. So he got paid on every Hobbit movie.
Oscar winner Milos Forman, who worked with Saul Zaentz. Saul Zaentz was the first Hollywood producer.
But
Remember,
he did animated films.
Saul Zaentz made One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, and you know, like he also made Amadeus. Amadeus with Tom Hulce and F. Murray Abraham.
Sure.
Saul Zaentz has successfully created many, many Oscar award-winning American English language motion pictures.
Yeah.
But they were produced around Europe, but they were all
But
produced with American money.
anything in Middle Earth, he did animated.
Correct, but not for lack of trying. In Ringer's Lord of the Fans, we have a segment where we talk about that, where John Borman, the director, was approached with doing... Stanley Kubrick was approached with the Lord of the Rings live-action film project.
Why didn't Stanley Kubrick?
Stanley Kubrick said no.
Kubrick doing Lord of the Rings, we would still be in the movie theater right now.
And as you know, John Borman could not end up getting the details worked out, and the deal at United Artists went to Ralph Bakshi.
Wheaton College in Illinois, thank you.
That's right, Wheaton College. Thank you for that. But to tell you the truth, the fact that Ralph Bakshi ended up with the project is something of a head scratcher even to this day.
Yeah.
Because people thought that John Borman was going to do it. He ended up making Excalibur because he couldn't go to Middle Earth, so he went and did the Arthurian legends instead, giving rise to the beginning careers of Helen Mirren, Sir Patrick Stewart, Liam Neeson. They all starred in Excalibur as very young people. It's true.
Huh.
It's true. Cinema history.
So who else did they need to clean up the complicated film rights from? So Saul Zaentz had a bunch of stuff. MGM had notoriously had the rights. In fact, that's what caused Guillermo del Toro to leave, because when MGM went bankrupt and all that stuff.
MGM originally had the rights because they earned them after Rankin and Bass did their animations in the late 70s and the early 80s. After that, then The Hobbit went back to MGM. That's when that happened.
Hey, Christina just bought your Ringers DVD.
Oh, wow. Awesome, Christina. Thank you. Wow.
If you
I
send
appreciate
it to
that.
Hollywood, Cliff will sign it and send
I
it
will.
back.
I'll sign it. Yes. Yeah. Edwin, I agree. Amadeus and Excalibur, two of the best films of the 80s period. Just fantastic. But how interesting that we would have had a John Borman live-action Lord of the Rings way back in 1981 if things had happened that way.
All right, so
we would have, but it didn't happen.
So we're down to $350 million.
Okay, who else are they paying off?
All right, so
leftover lawsuits in between New Line versus Harvey versus Peter Jackson
versus
MGM
versus all the actors that needed an extra claim after the success of Fellowship of the Ring. Remember, Vigo and all the actors sued after the success of Fellowship
they
to get
sued and
more
they won
points on the DVD and merchandise.
And then we found out that New Line Cinema was inappropriately and maybe illegally using the license of
Allegedly.
Lord of the Rings. No, they made Las Vegas video games.
Oh, that's right.
They made really tall.
We played slot machines with Gandalf.
They had big, tall, standalone components that were standing video slots, and that abused the license to the effect that the Tolkien estate went back to court with another lawsuit against New Line over that. Over the gambling machines.
So there were lawsuits over film points.
That's
there
a
were
lot.
lawsuits over the Hobbit rights. There were lawsuits over the merchandising. This deal clears all of that. In fact, part of the 50 million, I guess, is to clear up all merchandising rights. As we understand it, Amazon can merchandise the heck out of Lord of the Rings through Amazon's ownership of Whole Foods, Amazon.com.
That opens up a massive doorway.
So Amazon
for
is
merchandising.
the
That's brilliant.
the place to
That's
get
brilliant.
Samwise branded potato sacks.
Samwise branded. Samwise
So
potatoes.
look, so the
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
so on top of that, they needed so we're down to 350 million. Now let's talk about the cost of Game of Thrones. How much? How much
I don't
does
even know.
Game of Thrones cost
I have
per episode?
no idea what their budget is on
Game of Thrones allegedly costs $12 million an episode.
Per episode?
So if we're talking a typical online series of 12 episodes,
That would be 120 million per season.
that's 120. Yeah,
Wow.
you can do math quicker than me. And Bezos is committed to 2 seasons. So there's 250 million right there if we have a budget similar to Game of Thrones.
It
And
makes me wonder.
so
It makes me wonder where they're going to throw
So
that
we're
money
already
down.
at $400 million, and we haven't spent a dime on marketing. Now, Amazon,
Marketing?
I want
Oh, yeah.
billboards.
There's hundreds of millions of dollars for
I want
marketing.
TV commercials. I want everything that is Lord of the Rings everywhere. I want to see bus shelters. I want to see billboards. I want to see YouTube takeovers. I want to see ads. I want to see, like, Lord of the Rings is going to be everywhere
You want to see Warner Brothers take over the corner of Hollywood and Vine,
with the Shire.
where they have the Ready Player One set up,
Imagine
where the
if-
Pennywise haunted house used to be. Imagine an interactive walk-through, crazy VR thing.
of Saruman's castle.
No way.
What's the name of that? Orthanc?
Orthanc. The Tower of
If they
Orthanc.
built Orthanc at Hollywood and Vine,
Dude! That would be the ultimate geekgasm. That would be a crazy thing.
so it's not too far fetched to
But no.
spend that much money on marketing, is it?
I believe it. I believe it can happen.
Okay, so
I've seen it happen.
we
Not
just spent the whole budget. We just spent it.
even convention appearances, special pavilions down at San Diego
Yeah,
for Comic-Con. Yes.
with or without Weta, they can do it.
Now that's also going to be a big bone of contention since we're talking about this right now. And before
Mordor black coffee. I will drink
Ah,
that tomorrow.
all right.
Amazon, sell me some black coffee from Mordor.
we're in the last 7 minutes of our show. We're going to wind it down, but I'll put this out to you guys out there in the interwebs. How aggravated will you be? How upset? And I have to frame the question this way. How upset will you be if the new Amazon series completely avoids using any of the designs that Weta in New Zealand made for Peter Jackson's Middle-earth saga? No armor, no costumes, no weapons, no costume pieces in general. Hobbit costumes, elven costumes, nothing similar to the designs and the creations of Weta in that cinematic world. How upset would you guys be if they went far afield and made all new designs and all new everything? It would make you wonder.
Let me ask you this.
But it would help them with merchandising, because if someone's going to go and buy an elvish sword like Glamdring, which existed centuries before it appears
now you're
in
making
The Hobbit,
movies like George Lucas.
then they get to sell new toys that are the new version of Glamdring, the new version of Orcrist, the new.
This is sounding
all that's-
just like Star Wars. I just
That
watched
looks like
the
where they're gonna
toys
go with
that
it.
made us on Netflix.
Me too. I love
With-
that series.
yeah.
If you guys haven't seen it, The Toys That Made Us
On Netflix.
On Netflix.
It's
great
really
stuff.
good.
It
I
really
I
is
feel
good.
like they could do a whole episode on Tolkien toys.
That's actually my bailiwick. I'm surprised that I, as a documentary filmmaker, did not make that series.
you
The-
need to
The
get
Toys
on that
Made
show.
Us.
Find the producers. Like
That's a great series.
you should be on that show. Hey,
Because hey, for the Lord of the Rings toy episode, I'll be there for
look.
that.
So again, we just spent, just with what we know, with going rates of everything, of the caliber of content that we want to see, we've
Yeah.
already spent 500 million, and we
Yeah.
haven't even designed a toy, and we haven't paid for manufacturing. We haven't filled the toy channel with anything. So we've already blown the whole budget. and we don't even have new toys yet.
Oh boy!
So this is a big deal, and as we get more information, we will debate it for hours on end, like any good geeks will do. And speaking of debating, this weekend we have a panel in Anaheim at WonderCon, Sunday, 10:30 a.m.
WonderCon is on fire.
WonderCon.
It's gonna be so
Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Tickets at the door are $20.
That's
So
not bad.
show up in a cosplay. We can tell you all about where this place is, so you can join us next Tuesday. In fact, if you guys come to Scum and Villainy Cantina next Tuesday, you'll be part of the show. You can talk to us about what you saw at WonderCon and get a feel for the anticipation of everything that's going on.
I'm actually excited for this. I'm excited for WonderCon because, you know, it's a breathable, workable version of San Diego Comic-Con.
Hey, we've got a question
really
from
excellent.
Christina in the chat room. Do you guys need people to leave donations for the folks at Scum and Villainy Cantina? Do they have a PayPal account?
Okay,
for
good
support?
question. We'll put that question out to
Do
JC.
you guys take donations through PayPal or Venmo? Not yet. You know what? That is a great idea. We're going to bring that idea up to the owners.
We will.
If you guys feel like supporting the Scum and Villainy Cantina because they're supporting us on this wonderful show set, like the most expensive show set we've ever been on, like
Yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah.
we're going to work something out with them.
Thank you, Christina, for
that is a
asking
great
that.
idea.
You know, when I put the question out, how upset would you be if Amazon discarded all of the original Weta designs? Every single voice in that Facebook chat has said, I think a lot of people would be confused if it was different. Thank you, Nick Corbin. Other people said, no, I would be upset if they dissolved away from all of Weta's original work.
Hey.
A lot of people said they would be very, very unhappy.
Can you correct the record there? Helen Ford says Amazon is limited to as what they can use in regards to the books. That is false. It is unlimited to what they can use in all the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings books.
From our understanding of this deal, which is one of the reasons why the deal was
They
so
have
expensive.
complete creative freedom, but the Tolkien estate has last review rights, as we understand it.
That's helpful, and that's a new dimension. This is a new dimension where the people who
We do not have a
part
PayPal.
of. Oh, sorry, there's a camera there. There's a lot of people who've been very excited about this concept, but you and I know almost nothing yet about where they're going to put this money down, but they do have the license to Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit book fully.
And everything in the pages
Fully.
between.
And it has to be everything within cover to cover.
The footnotes, the appendices.
Because the
page
appendices
notes,
are the gold mine. That's where they're building the show.
And not just things you've seen. Amazon has rights to notes Tolkien has made that you have never seen. They
That's
have
right.
access to everything Tolkien has ever written, notated, drawn, mapped out, watercolored.
Yep.
Yes.
It's true. That this is about taking full advantage of the license that is in the appendices in the back of the book. More than anything. They're not going to retread The Hobbit, and they're not going to retread the events of the War of the Ring, as we have said. They're going to create an anthology, hopefully.
Yep.
An anthology that can go across many times, many time frames and
time zones.
large histories where an entire kingdom will rise and crumble. And for many kingdoms, that takes thousands of years, man.
Well,
Thousands of years.
as we wrap up the show, I just want to show off the cool camera setups that we have here, because isn't that awesome? We have that camera, and then we have this camera, and then we have the wall camera. But going back to this camera, look, Cliff, I'm so happy we're here at Scum
I
and
love this
Villainy.
camera. This is
Follow them.
This is my favorite
while
camera
we
of
figure
all.
out the PayPal donations, that's a great idea. You can just
that camera.
you can-
There's that one and that one.
you can simply just follow them on Facebook and Twitter. Just follow them, SV Cantina, or just search on Facebook for Scum and Villainy Cantina.
On Instagram, Scum and Villainy. That's right, on Instagram, Scum and Villainy
SV
Cantina.
Cantina.
Because I just tagged you guys last night.
Yeah. So-
And on
you can-
Twitter, SC Cantina.
SV.
Oh,
Scum
SV.
and Villainy.
SV Cantina.
You can follow us at theonering.net, and you can follow us along. There was a bunch of questions about WonderCon. We are not allowed to stream at WonderCon anymore. We will film the panel, but we're not allowed to post it until a couple days after. So we cannot stream from WonderCon. We cannot take 360 photos or video. The rules are rules, and we've got to abide by the rules. But we will film as much as we can.
Yes.
Every cosplayer out there, we will film you. We will put you on our Instagram stories. Look for Hannah. Look for Cliff. Look for Kathy. Look for all of our team. We'll be there all weekend, walking around.
This
and
is
our
going to be
panel is Sunday.
so exciting. We have an early morning, 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Is that Easter Sunday? Yes.
Wait, what?
It's Easter weekend.
No.
No, Easter weekend
weeks.
is 2 weeks out.
2 weeks.
Okay.
No, you know what it is though.
Usually WonderCon overlaps on Easter.
Our
That's
panel
usually...
is actually on International Tolkien Reading Day.
Yes, what a great
So I think we're gonna
coincidence.
we gotta find a way to read it as a group together. That would be
dude.
super fun.
Yeah, okay,
Anyway,
I'm so down for
Cliff,
that.
great show, great venue, great everything, great
The best
audience.
venue.
Thank you for the Skype calls. We hope to see more of you Skype in. We're gonna leave the Skype on every show now that we've got it figured out. And we're glad you're still with us, and we're tuning and we're still here. So this has been amazing.
We have to show you guys the menu. Hey, is there a place online where they can see the menu?
Not yet.
Not yet? Soon.
Not yet.
Soon. Very soon.
It's got to be approved by all the copyright lawyers
Yes.
here.
Because we're adding so many cool, like, Middle-earth themed items to existing Star Wars items that are on this great menu.
Well, we hope
It's going to be so awesome. Welcome aboard, everybody.
we
Welcome
hope
aboard.
you find a way to come to Hollywood. We're here 5 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday.
Yes.
Please come join us for the show. There's stools at the bar, and if you come early, you could stay and see Kevin Smith on most nights.
Hell yeah.
He's-
Kevin Smith is the best.
He's usually doing his Smodcast here.
Usually he is, yes.
At 8 o'clock. So, anyway, our
Follow
text
us.
message-
You got to follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook, The One Ring Net. You can find me as an individual, QuickBeam. That's QUICKBEAM, QuickBeam 2000. And you can find him at Justin's Big Idea.
You know, I just want to answer your question that you left everybody, and I just want you guys to think about this.
Bring it.
What was the question you asked everybody about Weta's designs?
I asked very clearly, how upset would you be if the new Amazon series, produced by all the people under Jeff Bezos, decided to abandon all existing designs by Weta and went for a whole new visual look for their Middle-earth?
Let me rephrase the question. You don't need to answer it. I want you guys to think about this.
Yes,
and
think
then
about
come
it.
back to us. Let me rephrase that question. What do you think the Tolkien family would do with that question? Do you think the Tolkien family would appreciate everything that Weta did?
Indeed.
You've all watched the appendices.
Oh.
You've all read the stories. What does the Tolkien family want? That's ultimately the question. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at WonderCon this Sunday.
Ponder that, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you at WonderCon and next week, Tuesday, here at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. Bye for now. Boom. Shakalaka.